What is up, people? I hope you're doing great. I hope you're having a great day. Welcome to another video. Welcome to the channel. Excuse me. Please, guys, if you haven't done so, subscribe to the channel and please push that notification bell so that you can get notified each time I post a new video. And also, please push the like button, man. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. And guys, I've been thinking about something. I'm gonna start I'm gonna open a TikTok thingy, and I'll just post some videos there. Like I'm gonna talk about like football, and then I'll just try and get the hang of just putting out some TikTok videos about football there. Maybe like I'll just clip some of my segments in my thingy in my like YouTube videos, and I'll just post them there. So please, guys, just give me a follow on TikTok, and I don't know if you like on TikTok or something, but please just give me a follow there and just support my platform there. And also please support my Instagram. I am basically I am Luke Jikela, so LUKEJIKELA. That's my thingy. That's my Instagram thingy. My Instagram name, and basically I'll name my TikTok thing at Luke Jikela. So I'll go at LUKEJIKELA. So please just give me a follow and support my platform there. And yeah, man, guys, welcome to another video. In this video, I just want to talk about the Champions League games that are going to be playing this week. Obviously, we have some games on Tuesday and we have some games on Wednesday of the Champions League. There will be two Premier League clubs playing tomorrow, Liverpool as well as Tottenham, and then also there will be two Premier League clubs playing on Wednesday, Chelsea and Man City. Now, I did not see any other interesting clashes in the Champions League this week. So like other mouth-watering clashes where I'm like, that's going to be a great game. So I'm just going to be solely like doing this video for the Premier League clubs basically. So I'll just start with tomorrow's games. Obviously, Liverpool are going to be playing Rangers, and Tottenham are going to be playing Eintracht Frankfurt. Now, starting with the Liverpool game, obviously it's at Anfield. They're playing against Rangers. Now, Rangers are a good side, even though they've started the season off on. I don't think they've started their season off well in the Scottish League. I think they did get a win though this weekend. Like this past weekend, we are coming from. Obviously, Liverpool drew their game against Brighton, even though Brighton's really a good side. But obviously, Liverpool look like a shadow of their former selves. They lack intensity. They lack pressing. They seem like it's the complete opposite of what we expect from Liverpool based on what we've seen from them in the past 3 or 4 years under Jurgen Klopp, when they've been like this high intensity side that just blow you away with their pressing. That seems missing at this moment in time, and obviously part of that is because Sadio Mane has left, but they just seem struggling at the moment. And many people feel like Brighton, the way they played against them, they probably should have won that game if they had taken their chances. I was actually listening to a Liverpool fan like on YouTube today. Basically, he was saying that they should have been 4-0 down after 20 minutes. That's how good Brighton were and how bad they were. Like Liverpool, obviously. But obviously, Brighton didn't take their chances and they were only 2-0 up. And obviously, Liverpool came back and were leading the game 3-2. But they obviously conceded a goal through Trossard. Trossard scoring a hat-trick against them, and then obviously the game ended as 3-3. Now, I get it, like Liverpool are struggling a bit with regards to intensity and physicality in games, but the thing that is almost probably a shock to most people is the fact that they are quite bad defensively so far this season. They seem to be, like, they don't seem like they can keep a clean sheet. Like, they don't look like a team where, and the difficult thing to kind of, well, what happened there? Sorry there, guys. I think my headphones just disconnected there a bit. Okay, they're connected again. I apologize there, guys. I think my headphones just disconnected for a moment. So I apologize for that. But basically, I was saying, Liverpool, like Virgil van Dijk has been basically recognized by most people around the world as the best defender in the world in probably the last 3 or 4 years. Obviously, he had the injury in 2020, I think. Yeah, it was 2020. And last season, Liverpool improved massively when he came back into the side. Like in 2020-21, after he got injured, they were really awful defensively. But then last season, when he came back into the side and started getting back his fitness and started getting back his form, they started to look like that Liverpool team that could defend and keep clean sheets against everybody. Bar City, obviously, because we always score against Liverpool, because we just play an end-to-end game all the time. It's always an exciting game when Liverpool play Manchester City. But basically, excuse me, apologize, guys. But basically, so far this season, Liverpool seem like defensively they seem shaky. Like, I think teams are going up against Liverpool, even if they are at Anfield, they fancy themselves that they can score against them, and that's not something that you can say like you could have said in 2 years ago, or a year ago even, or 3 years ago, or 4 years ago. Like, teams who came up against Liverpool, bar Man City probably, played against Liverpool and they went into Anfield, for example, and they were scared to play against them. But that fear factor, it seems like it's gone. And everyone is coming up against Liverpool and they fancy themselves that they can get something from the game, whether it be a draw or a win. Obviously, they've only been beaten once so far this season because they were beaten by Man United and all the other games were draws. So you could look at it in a positive way, in the sense that Liverpool are coming back even when they fall behind. They are coming back and they're snatching draws. Because apart from the Man United game when they lost, they haven't lost all season. But they're getting way too many draws. And every team, when they basically come up against them, they kind of fancy themselves that they can get something from the game, or they can nick something from the game. And Newcastle as well were unlucky not to get a draw against them, because Liverpool scored basically in the dying seconds of the game. So I think, yeah, man, Liverpool look a bit shaky at the moment. Even Liverpool fans are struggling to kind of wrap their finger around like what's happening with them. And I kind of understand them, because yes, they've lost Mane, and obviously with losing Mane and losing his intensity going forward and his pressing, you will lose maybe a bit of cutting edge, because Darwin Núñez is not he's not Mane, and he's not capable of replacing Mane as of yet, because he's not a polished player. But Sadio Mane, yes, he also helped tremendously with regards to defensive work, because Mane used to cover the ground very easily. So he used to play down the left wing and he used to gallop up and down at a very easy pace. And if you actually notice, most runners, like in these marathon competitions, like in Olympics and stuff like that, most runners who win these gold medals in marathons and stuff are black people from Africa, basically from these African countries, the Central African countries, West African countries, East African countries, and obviously Southern African countries as well, because Caster Semenya is also like an Olympic gold medalist from South Africa. So the reason why I am making that point is because most, especially people from Central Africa, they are really their fitness levels are up there with the best in terms of the level of intensity that they can perform at. And I think that's part and parcel due to the fact that they're used to competing in conditions of extreme heat, because it's really hot in Africa, especially in Central Africa. And as a result of that, their fitness levels are kind of up there with the best of them. And you find it hard to find people who have more fitness levels than Africans, basically. So I think the way Sadio Mane used to kind of gallop up and down the pitch and cover his left back, basically, he used to play left wing, but because he had so much energy and he used to play with such energy, he was able to kind of stop counter attacks as well, in terms of tracking back and help out the team. And he was such a team player, and he never moaned with regards to doing that job. He didn't just want to attack, but he also wanted to do the defensive work for the team. So there's a lot that you lose in Sadio Mane just coming off the team. It's not just Sadio Mane goes off and you just plug someone into the side and then you replace them. You replace them just like that and the team functions. It's a lot more complex than that. But I think Liverpool are struggling even against teams where you like the only team really that they beat convincingly so far this season was Bournemouth. And Bournemouth are probably going to get relegated. every time they're coming up against like teams that have a bit of quality about them and that can kind of press and kind of work really hard and work at a high intensity, they seem to struggle to match those teams physically and in terms of intensity. So I think it's a really strange moment for Liverpool fans, and probably Jurgen Klopp is kind of like he's kind of struggling to also wrap his finger around why they're struggling. So yeah, and I think Rangers are going to give them a good game, because Rangers also have like they have a rich history, because they basically the top club in Scotland, and therefore they have a rich football history in the Scottish Premiership, and therefore they have a lot of fan base, and like their fans are always in full voice when they travel like in Europe and that. So I think Rangers are going to give a good account of themselves, but I would back Liverpool to win. I think especially after drawing that game against Brighton, I think they're gonna like as a professional footballer, or as a professional athlete, basically. All you want to do, not that I was ever a professional athlete, obviously, but all you want to do is that one, like when you put on a bad performance, you always can't wait for the next one so that you can put it right, and make sure that you kind of like you correct the mistakes that you made in that bad performance that you put out. So I'm pretty sure the Liverpool players are going to be looking forward to kind of playing again and kind of try and just like correct the mistakes that they made against Brighton. If the Brighton really phenomenal in terms of their performance, and they're going to be wanting to put that right. So I think it's going to be an interesting game between Liverpool and Rangers. And yeah, I'm going to go for a Liverpool win, even though Liverpool are not convincing at this moment in time. But I'm going to go for a 3-1 Liverpool win. And then obviously moving on to another team that obviously did not get a good result this weekend. Also playing tomorrow, Spurs or Tottenham. They're going to be playing Eintracht Frankfurt away. Obviously, at first, like especially Tottenham fans. Let me just grab water here. But basically, maybe I should put this water bottle here so that I can reach like that. Yeah, instead of just going away from the camera. But basically, Spurs fans at the beginning of the season, when the Champions League draw took place, like group stage draw took place, they were really happy with their draw, because they basically got a Europa League draw, because they were drawn against Sporting Lisbon, Eintracht Frankfurt. Sporting Lisbon have already beaten them, by the way. Eintracht Frankfurt and Marseille. And really, for a team of Tottenham's caliber and quality, that like they would have been really happy with that draw, and they were, and their fans were really happy about the draw as well, because they thought that it was going to be not an easy pathway to the knockout phases, because you're still competing at the top level. You're still competing against other professionals who are going to want to give a good account of themselves, and are going to want to kind of prove to you that they can also play, even though you have more quality than them, but they will compete. But it would like the path to the knockout stages could have certainly been a lot more difficult than you just facing Eintracht Frankfurt, Sporting Lisbon, and Marseille. But obviously, it hasn't turned out that way. Even though they did win match day 1 against Marseille, they were not really good against Marseille. And Marseille, like the only time they actually started to attack Marseille and kind of create chances was when Marseille got a man sent off, because they got a red card, because like their player took out Son, and that player was the last man basically, and therefore that was a denial of a goal scoring opportunity, and therefore he was sent off. That was only when Tottenham were able to kind of carve Marseille open and kind of attack and create chances, and eventually they scored 2 goals and they won the game 2-0. But really, the 2-0 flattered them in the sense that like they did not dominate the game so much that they deserved to win 2-0. Like 2-0 sounds convincing. It's like you stifled the opponent and you won the game convincingly, but they were far from convincing against Marseille, even though they ended up winning. And then obviously the next week on match day 2, they play Sporting Lisbon, and again they're lethargic, they're sloppy in possession, they don't create enough chances. The bad performances from Son and Kane and all the other players. No, man, this is happening again. No, I'm sorry there, guys, man. This thingy just disconnected. Yeah. Just disconnect there. There we go. yeah, man. I hope you guys can hear me. Because this thing just disconnected here. Okay, let me just switch the Bluetooth off. And I'll switch it on again. And then I'll connect to the headphones so that I can be sure that I am shooting the video properly. There we go, man. I'm sorry there, guys. Basically what happened is that I was connected to my earphones and my headphones at the same time. So now, like, it keeps kind of like switching off. Well, it keeps kind of disconnecting with the headphones and then it's connecting with the like it's basically recording with the earphones. So I apologize there. But I did disconnect the earphones now. So I'm basically talking here. But I was saying about Tottenham. The very next week when they played Sporting Lisbon, after that performance where they were far from convincing against Marseille, they were then again awful against Sporting Lisbon. And everybody, including Spurs fans, thought that they were going to draw the game because Sporting Lisbon didn't create enough chances. Probably the game deserved to be a draw because both teams didn't create enough chances. But then what happened was that Sporting Lisbon, in the dying seconds of the game, which is clinical, they scored from a corner and they scored from a counter-attacking goal. Because as soon as Sporting Lisbon scored the corner, Tottenham panicked. They tried to throw every man forward, and then Sporting Lisbon capitalized upon that, and they then counter-attacked Tottenham, and they scored, and then it's 2-0. They probably did not deserve to lose 2-0, but they ended up losing 2-0 because they put on a bad performance for the full 90 minutes, basically. So now, yes, they are sitting with 3 points after 2 games, which is not a bad start. You've lost a game and you've won one. But it's the performances that are going to be worrying for Tottenham fans, I would think, because the performances simply haven't been good enough. And as a result of that, they could lose against Eintracht Frankfurt. Now, I haven't been following Eintracht Frankfurt in terms of like in the Bundesliga, so I don't actually know how good they are. I just know that last season they won the Europa League. So they must be a pretty good side because West Ham were also in the Europa League, and West Ham are a pretty decent outfit in the Premier League. So Eintracht Frankfurt are probably a decent team, and they're probably going to give Tottenham some problems. So I think it's going to be a tough game for Tottenham, especially with the fact that they're playing away, and also they're going to be playing under pressure because they need to get that second win to try and make sure that they at least get 6 points on the board from a possible 9. Because you don't want to be sitting on 3 points after 3 games, because now you're turning your match day 4, 5, 6 into must wins instead of playing those games at a lot as a team. You want to be playing match day 4, 5, and 6 in a way where you can rotate your squad because there's no jeopardy, because you've won your first 3 games, and therefore you are almost at the door basically of qualifying for the knockout stages. So Tottenham are going to be under pressure tomorrow to win that game. Otherwise, they're going to be kind of making things very difficult for themselves, as in terms of getting a pathway to the knockout stages of the Champions League. So I think it's going to be an interesting game between Tottenham and Eintracht Frankfurt. But I would back Tottenham, especially also after that poor Arsenal showing where they were outplayed by Arsenal. They were totally dismantled by Arsenal and totally dominated by Arsenal. And as a result, probably Antonio Conte would have blasted them for their awful performance. Obviously, they got the red card as well. So I think after the performance, the players are going to be wanting to kind of... they're not going to want to disappoint Antonio Conte again, and they're going to play at a very high clip to try and make sure that they win that game. So I would probably go for a narrow Tottenham win, because I simply think Tottenham have simply been they haven't been convincing all season, and as a result, it's very difficult for me. I'm actually checking out the gecko there. It's kind of like it's hunting thingy. It's hunting these things that fly at night. I don't actually know what it is in English. But basically, I think Tottenham are going to want to put things right after the awful performance in the North London derby, where bragging rights were with Arsenal, and the only thing Spurs fans could say was that you're not in the Champions League. And they're saying that to Arsenal fans, kind of like as a job, that they're playing on Thursday nights and they are playing like in the Champions League. But it was an awful performance from them against Arsenal. They were completely outplayed, and they did not really, apart from the couple of chances they created in the first half and the goal they scored through the penalty, they simply did not create nowhere near enough chances to even get a draw in that game, let alone a win. So they completely deserve to get beat by Arsenal on Saturday. So I think they're going to want to put that right. And I think I'm going to go for a narrow Tottenham win. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for Tottenham. And then obviously going on to the last two games on Wednesday, obviously City are going to be playing Copenhagen, and Chelsea are going to be playing AC Milan. Now, obviously, City are coming off the Manchester derby, where they completely dismantled their arch rivals, Manchester United, who were really awful on the night, or on the day, because it was not at night actually. City completely dismantled Man United, and trust me, as a City fan, that victory really was nice. Again, not because we beat Man United, because I know Man United are going to jump on the bandwagon that, look at you guys celebrating a win against us, whereas it's like you've won the Champions League or whatever. But basically, it's not the fact that we beat Man United that I was really happy. It's the fact that after all the crap and nonsense that their fans were talking all week, talking about Haaland being pocketed by Martinez or being butchered by Martinez, it was really nice to kind of like shove that down their throats and kind of beat them and completely outplay them in the first half. 4-0 down at halftime, completely embarrassing. It was a great thing. It was a great win for City. Great performance. Hat-trick from Haaland. Hat-trick from the local lad, Phil Foden, who, by the way, I read an article from David Ornstein today that he is on the verge of signing his new deal at City. I think it's a new 6-year deal up until 2028, and he's going to be on 250k a week. Obviously, he deserves that because Phil Foden has been an integral part of the squad in the past 2 seasons, starting from that season 2020-21. And he's kind of grown into a first team regular, and he's playing literally almost every game for City now. So he completely deserves to be one of our highest paid players in the team. So yeah, man, big up to the local lad there. It would have been great for him to score a hat-trick against Man United. And obviously Phil Foden would not have grown up obviously Phil Foden was born in 2000, so he's 22 years of age. So when he was growing up, he would not have been subject to the abuse from Man United fans, kind of like bantering Man City fans that they win everything and Man City fans are irrelevant and all of that. Because by the time Phil Foden was coming of age, Manchester City was starting to win, because that's when obviously for example, when the new ownership from Abu Dhabi took over City, it was in 2008, and Phil Foden was only 8 at that time. So by the time he was 12, City were winning, they won their first league title in, I think, 60 something years, because the last time we won a league title was in the 60s. And then we won it in 2012. So it would probably it would have probably been 50 something years. So basically it was, I'm sure, it was not as, his childhood was not as bad as older Man City fans who grew up in the 90s when City were really bad and were getting relegated to the 3rd division and all of that stuff. But that hat-trick would have tasted sweet for him. And that's why he was kind of like, his first celebration, he was doing that. He cupped his his ear to the Man United fans, and was doing this basically, because the away end at the Etihad is on that side, where we were attacking in the first half, and that's why he was doing that to the Man United fans, and that would have been great for him. But yeah, man, we play Copenhagen tomorrow, well, not tomorrow, Wednesday. And yeah, man, I mean, Copenhagen, they are from Denmark, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously this sounds very disrespectful that I don't even know where they're from. But I'm not I know Copenhagen were playing on, I think, yesterday in their league. But I mean, I'm obviously not up to date with the Danish league or something because I don't watch that. I mean, even if I wanted to watch it, I wouldn't have been able to because it does not play on DSTV, which is where I watch my football. So really, I mean, it's not um like I'm not really up to date with regards to what Copenhagen do. I just know that they are currently sitting bottom of our group in the Champions League, and that suggests that they're not very good. So yeah, man, I think Pep is gonna make some changes to the side. I think Morris is gonna start the game. I think probably Alvarez is gonna start the game. Cole Palmer might start the game. And I'm not sure about Rodri because Rodri obviously missed the Manchester derby because of a calf strain, I think. And Gundogan played in that sitter role. John Stones is still missing because Pep said he's going to be out for a week to two. Like he said, he's going to be out for 10 to 14 days. So it's like just over a week to about 2 weeks, and he's going to be back in 2 weeks. It's not a major hamstring injury. He hasn't torn his hamstring. I'm sure it's just a sprain in his hamstring, and therefore it's kind of day to day, and he kind of has to wait until he's not feeling any pain. Obviously, Walker went off injured in that game against Manchester United because he couldn't continue. So I think Sergio Gomez might start as a result of that, and Cancelo might start at right back, and then I think Diaz might come back to the side. And yeah, man, I think that there might be a few changes to the side because also we are playing on Wednesday evening, and then we play in the Premier League on Saturday. So we only have 2 days to prepare for thingy. It's great that we're playing at the Etihad, so we're not playing away, so we don't have to do any traveling basically. But we only have 2 days to prepare for Southampton on Saturday. So I think there might be a few changes to the side. I wouldn't be surprised if Haaland does not start, but he might start obviously and then go off in the second half after we maybe 2 goals or 3 goals up. But I think Pep is gonna want to kind of rest him and make sure that we kind of make sure that we kind of like make sure that we minimize the injuries and all of that stuff, since there are lots of games at this moment in time. So yeah, man, I think I don't really have much to say about the Copenhagen game. I think City are gonna play their football. I think they're gonna dominate the game. By no means am I saying it's gonna be an easy game where we're gonna stroll, because I understand that we might make a few changes to the side, and therefore it might be a difficult game because of that. But having said all of that, I think we are gonna win the game because we will overall we will have more quality than Copenhagen, and you can never fault our side of not working hard. So we always put in the hard yards and play at a high intensity. So as a result, no matter how hard Copenhagen work, the quality eventually is going to show. And that's why I think we're going to win the game, basically. Yeah, man, I think... and obviously, if we're losing after 60 minutes, Haaland can always come from the bench if he does not start, and we can win the game 3-2, because that's the weapon we have at this moment in time. So yeah, man, I think it's going to be a good game. But I'll be watching it, obviously, but I think we're going to beat Copenhagen. I'm going to go for a 2-0 City win. And then the final game, obviously, is the Chelsea game. Excuse me, guys. Chelsea are going to be playing Chelsea are going to be playing AC Milan. Obviously, Fikayo Tomori is going to be playing against his former club. I'm sure he's looking forward to that. And also he's playing for AC Milan. Obviously, AC Milan won the Serie A title last season. They were the Serie A champions last season, and they have a few good players in their squad. Rafael Leao is an exciting young player, and I think there are many suitors that want Rafael Leao, including Manchester City. He is being looked at by Manchester City scouts from reliable I've heard from reliable sources like Fabrizio Romano and David Ornstein that he is being looked at by Manchester City scouts. Also, there are many other clubs that are looking at him because he's really he's burst onto the scene, and he's a really young, exciting attacking winger. So AC Milan do have some exciting players in their team. Obviously, I don't know most of their players. I think Giroud also plays for them. Or actually, Giroud could play against his former club as well, because Giroud used to play for Chelsea. So I know Giroud is their striker. I think they also have Chanalolu. I think that's how you say his name. I think it's a guy from Turkey or something, who is a decent player technically. But yeah, I think AC Milan do have some good players that can possibly cause problems for Chelsea. And Chelsea obviously are still trying to kind of work out the system of Graham Potter. They're still trying to get used to how Graham Potter wants to play. So that's also another thing whereby they are like they're gonna maybe perform well in spells in a game, but they might not put on a complete performance over 90 minutes because they're still learning how to play under Graham Potter. Which might also like obviously give AC Milan a chance to kind of stamp out their authority and kind of beat Chelsea. And obviously Chelsea, this is almost like a must-win game for them. And the reason why I'm saying it's almost like a must-win game for them is because obviously before Tuchel got sacked, he lost that first Champions League game against Dinamo Zagreb. And then Graham Potter drew his first game in charge of Chelsea in the Champions League. So that then means Chelsea only have 1 point from a possible 6. So as a result, if they lose against AC Milan, they're going to have 1 point from a possible 9. Now that's a very bad position to be in. I don't know how many points the other teams in their group are on, but it's going to be a very bad start if they lose tomorrow and they have 1 point from a possible 9. So I think they are kind of got. Obviously, you go into every game wanting to win the game, but I think this is almost like a must-win game for Chelsea, because if you lose, even if you draw, you only have 2 points from a possible 9, and that's not a good start by any means. I think Chelsea are going to go into the game trying to really stamp their authority and win. Obviously, against Crystal Palace, they were not that great in terms of like there was nothing in between the two sides, and probably Crystal Palace deserved to get a draw from that game. But obviously Chelsea kind of hung in there and they ended up snatching the victory, which you can only give them credit for that. Because it shows great mental fortitude and character to kind of not play that well, but always just try to keep going until you get the victory. But yeah, man, I think it's going to be a difficult game for Chelsea against AC Milan, because I think AC Milan are a good side. But I think it's going to be really a tricky fixture for Graham Potter. Obviously, Graham Potter is not going to get sacked or whatever, even if, let's say, they get knocked out of the group stages or they are demoted to the Europa League or something. I actually think maybe that could actually be a blessing in disguise, in the sense that it would take away the Champions League games midweek, and that would give Graham Potter in the second half of the season a lot of time on the training ground when Champions League football and Europa League football is playing. If, let's say, they finish bottom of their group or something, that would give him a lot of time to kind of drill his players and drill his tactics in terms of what he wants from his players. Because ultimately, that's what Graham Potter needs. He needs time on the training ground to kind of drill his players so that the players are kind of up to speed with regards to knowing what he wants exactly from them, from a tactical point of view, from an intensity point of view, and all of those nitty-gritties. So I think it's going to be a tough game for Chelsea against AC Milan. It's a must-win game for them. They're going to be under massive pressure. Obviously, Chelsea have some good players like Sterling. Aubameyang got his first goal for Chelsea. Obviously, Aubameyang, when he first played for Chelsea, he was wearing the mask because he had a broken jaw from the robbery in his home in Barcelona. So now he obviously that probably would have affected him a little bit in terms of how he was playing, because his jaw was it was not fully healed, and he might have been playing in some form of pain or something. But obviously he had the break during the international break. He probably didn't play and was training hard. And now he looks a bit sharper. And obviously he has the mask off now, which probably means he's okay in terms of his jaw. So I think there might be some good performances from Aubameyang, as long as Chelsea kind of create chances for him. Obviously, Conor Gallagher got a great goal against Crystal Palace, so he might start for Chelsea against AC Milan. But I just think it's going to be a tough game for Chelsea, and it's a game that they should win. Well, not should win. It's a game that they have to win because they are sitting, I think, bottom of their group with 1 point from a possible six. And if they lose tomorrow, they're going to have 1 point from a possible 9, which is going to be a very bad start indeed for them in the Champions League. So, yeah, guys, I think I'll wrap up the video there. I've obviously spoken about the Champions League games, kind of previewing them. If you have any comments, please leave your comments in the comment section down below. And also, please, guys, give the channel a thumbs up, or give the video a thumbs up, and kind of like it. It really helps with YouTube. And also, please push the notification bell so that you can get notified each time I post a new video. And also, please subscribe to the channel. Please push that subscribe button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. That also massively helps. It's free of charge, guys. Like and subscribe to the video, please, guys. I would really appreciate that. Yeah, man, just tell also some of your friends to tune in. Kind of give my video a listen. Even if you listen for 1 minute and you just give me a view there. And just like the video and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate that, guys. And yeah, man, I appreciate you guys. Again, please give me a follow on Instagram. My account is basically Luke Chigela. And then also please kind of like give me a follow on my TikTok. I will start a TikTok as soon as I kind of like end this video. I will open my TikTok account and I'll just post a few clips of kind of like my videos here. I'll do those segments where maybe I'm talking about City or something, or Chelsea, and I'll just take that and then I'll just put it into my TikTok. So yeah, guys, please, man, just subscribe to the channel and support me on other platforms as well. I would really appreciate that. And yeah, guys, thank you for watching the video. Have a great evening, and I'll see you guys probably Thursday when I'm reviewing the Champions League games, because obviously tomorrow I'll be watching the Champions League games, and then on Wednesday as well I'll be watching the Champions League games, and I'll just review the videos on Thursday. Appreciate you guys, and thank you for supporting the channel. Have a great evening. Yeah, man, peace out.